A Note on Balance from an untitled play by Nathaniel Blake Johnson, performed by Cesar Ramon.
Congratulations, altos. You won. You're the loudest of everybody. I'm not sure what the prize is, but expect it in the mail the next 3 to 5 business days. Why would you come on so strong? We only have one soprano today, and she's recuperating from strep throat from the weekend concert. And soprano, I understand your voice is coming back to you, but you can't give up. Normally, 2.5 of you will be all that is needed to hear your part. All we have is the half right now, but you must never relinquish your persistence. Tenors, your breathing is everywhere, so your phrasing is jumbled. I don't know if you're coming or going. The phrasing is muddy. Now, everyone, we have to press reset on our thinking. The main thing we have forgotten is balance. Without that, we are just screaming sections, not even sections, because there's some sense of unity in that idea, but there was no section that did their part justice. You always have to be listening to what's going on around you. Do you hear the 3-part harmony? Do you hear what your neighbor is singing? You should hear the trill in their voice. We've been together so long. You know each other's voices by now. There should not be a moment where you cannot distinguish Carla in the back corner to Ladarius front and center. Tanya's vibrato should be matched by Queenie's at all times. I know I throw a lot at you with the songs, with inflections, key changes, moderations, but you showed me early on that you can do it. No one section is more important than the other, even when they're not the highlight or even singing at all. If you're not leading a song, no one voice should be heard above the other. We have seen the reward from the hard work. There is no question of rehearsal and anointing. If we can't stay in balance for 3.5 minutes, I don't see how we can be that beacon for those who haven't seen the inside of a church in 3.5 years.
Unwritten Writing by Howard Flanzer, performed by J.R. Carter.
I am a writer who does not write. I have many words to share, but will not. How can I call myself a writer if I don't write? Isn't this a contradiction? Not at all. If I believe myself to be a writer, then I am a writer. I don't have to write anything and still be a writer. You may ask, where is the proof? I've convinced myself and don't have to convince anyone else. It's enough. If I know the truth and people believe me, when you meet me, can't you see I am a writer? My idea is the way I arrange my words. You will ask, where are these words? On the page? You're only speaking them. Where are they? If they exist in my mind, then you know they can be written on a page. It's self-explanatory. I would not write anything down just to convince you. I don't have to prove anything to you. Can you prove you are a live person? I don't need anyone to vouch that you are. I can believe what I want, just as you can. I know what I can do and who I am. I am a writer.
I'm not used to talking in a group like this, a grief group. Yeah, right. Bereavement group. I didn't even really know what that word meant until I came here. Sure, I can share some memories of my mom. My mom isn't known as a sentimental or mushy person, even though she was caring and raised us all with love. She was strong, like her mother, but when we were younger, we didn't know how strong she was or what strength she possessed. She was a military spouse, and physically, she was a single parent for the months that our father was away at sea in remote places around the world, including his tour in Vietnam. You know, his photographs dotted the house so that he would be present for all of us while he was away. But he was away. And that meant that she had to take care of us all by herself for 30 days, even a year at a time. She was our nurturer, our disciplinarian, and she hardly ever got to say that traditional cliched phrase, wait until your father comes home. Even when our father was gone, things usually went pretty smoothly. She made our clothing, cooked all of our meals, did our laundry, cleaned the house. She assigned us chores, yeah, and attempted to teach us how to care for ourselves. In the arena of cooking, well, her success rate was wildly inconsistent. Our brother, Rusty, he spent a great deal of time in the kitchen with our mother, and he became quite an accomplished cook. The baby sister, we called her Tiffany back then, she vowed that she would marry a man who could cook, and she has been happily married to Dwayne for 20 plus years. And little Kathy, well, I grew up wondering why all recipes couldn't be made in my easy bake oven. Oh, sure, the girls did team up in the kitchen once, managing to stain the ceiling with peanut butter, far flung from the mixer while attempting to make cookies. Oh, my mom was only half kidding when she joked that I could have been on the show The Worst Cooks in America. Before cooking shows democratized travel and cooking, at least as sort of vicarious experiences, she demonstrated a deep curiosity and an openness to learning about other cultures. Mom was born in Massachusetts, but after World War II ended, she traveled to Montana, and her parents took federal jobs building the Hungry Horse Dam. So she was an only child, and her mother kept her entertained by letting her cook in rural Montana, starting at the age of 4. After marrying a Coast Guardsman with a duty station in his home state of Florida, she traveled to the South for the first time. Her sister-in-law, she was eager to teach her how to cook, and they started with a Southern staple, the biscuit. Mom's first batch of biscuits were so bad, dry, hard, that her 2 brothers, well, brothers-in-law, played catch with them. And then one of them unscrewed the handles off a kitchen cupboard and screwed on her biscuits. The family's patriarch stepped in and insisted, you boys unscrew those biscuits, sit down at the table and eat them right now. My father, he loved to tell that story. Yeah, my mom was a military spouse, and she was able to indulge her love for travel, as well as the love for camping that she cultivated in Big Sky Country. She was the queen of trip organization and coordinated 2 cross-country trips for our family, as well as memorable weekends at Camp Pendleton. Let's see, it was Arrowhead, Big Bear, and Sebago Lakes. Duty stations provided new neighbors and new opportunities to learn to cook local cuisines. Well, when living in the suburb of DC, she learned how to cook manicotti from Mrs. Paletti, the landlord's wife. The cooking lessons in San Diego and Santa Ana, they were focused on authentic Mexican cuisine. The naval base on Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay, that provided an opportunity to learn about adobo from another Coast Guard's wife who was born in the Philippines. San Francisco, that was also where our family stumbled upon this tiny basement restaurant in Chinatown that served local customers Cantonese favorites. Telling you, my mom was bold in her willingness to travel to new places and try unfamiliar cuisines, savoring good food and new experiences with family and friends. One of the most admirable qualities of my mother, it's always been her willingness to speak the truth, even when it caused trouble or even inconvenience in her own life. Once, this campground was breaking the rules of the Environmental Protection Agency. It was regarding the lake that abuts their land. My mom spoke out, like she always did. She got the campground owners to change their ways and engage in proper preservation of the water source. But she also caused them to refuse to renew our season pass because they were pretty pissed off at her for being a whistleblower. She didn't regret her decision or the loss of her favorite camping spot because she knew speaking up was the right thing to do. She applied the same spirit of facing hard truths to her family life. You know, somehow my mother, she kept her heart open to emotional and spiritual growth long after many people become hardened and opposed to change. She even found a church later in life, developing deep friendships, serving the congregation, and building a spiritual home. Through the grace of God, she learned to forgive with grace. And in a family, any dysfunctional family, and ours is David Sedaris style dysfunctional, there's so much to forgive. In the last days at her bedside, my sister, brother-in-law, and I, we tried to say we were sorry, as in the prayer for confession, for things we had done and for things that we had left undone. Her answer to him, it was the most touching. She said, "Sorry for what? For being family?" Throughout her life, she had tried to show us that it was better to stay together and to try and forgive one another. Forgiveness can be hard. Forgiveness can take great strength. But through the spirit of forgiveness, my mother showed her love. Not a sentimental or mushy version of love, but a strong love, one that was possible only through the grace of God. I ask myself, can you forgive? Really, is this the last lesson that my mother will ever teach me?
The Atheist Dream by L.R. Laverty Hansen. Soul scene. 2 adult people are present.
I had another dream last night.
And
I keep seeing God in my dreams, but, well, Jesus, actually.
Jesus Christ? What? No burning bush?
Yeah, it's freaky.
But you don't.
I don't. Not since I was 6, but
Well, what? Did Mr. Christ say anything, or did he just telepathically relay his message of hope and harmony?
that I don't remember. This is too weird.
Well, you keep dreaming and tell me when JC's got a stock tip for me. Meanwhile, get me another glass.
Yeah, sure.
On These Shoulders, Okasa-san, starring Sachiko Park.
My name is Michio. I was born in Kyoto, the old capital, into a 1,000-year samurai clan. My family arranged marriage with Koji Sasaki. We got engaged. Soon after, his father sent him to America to college. It was the Meiji era, and Japan needed to leap ahead and be modern. Off he went and left me staying at his parents' house. He was gone so long, I thought he may be dead. But a note came. He was in something called a gold rush. After 9 years, I felt I was going mad. So I made my own plan. Begged my father for money and took a ship to America. On a ship, I was sick every day. When I arrived, I was so happy. A new land. The people had strange clothes. I could not understand the talk, but other Japanese showed me where Japantown was. After asking about Koji, it was a miracle. Someone remembered him. Finally, going to place after place, he was discovered working on a railroad. No one was so shocked as Koji when he saw me. He had not gone to college. He went on gold rush and lost all his money. Some people said he was gambling, but because I came, he had to stop. He had to take care of me. We married. We saved money. Boss did not want Japanese or Chinese in picture at end of railroad. For people to see we had built part of America. We left and farmed in Indiana. First, a chicken farm. The hen house burned down. And potato farm. Too many potatoes. Potatoes too cheap. Sunday afternoons after church, the Japanese met under an oak tree. Koji told stories about old Japan. Everybody happy, but only on Sundays. It's bad luck with farms. Shikata ga nai. Gambare! So we went to Utah. Koji said they need good restaurant in Salt Lake. We made one. The Lincoln Cafe. He was kitchen boss. I was waitress and cashier. People liked our food. It was so busy. And we had children. 3 boys, 2 girls. You see? Now I am oba-chan. 2 granddaughters and a grandson. You hear their voices? I play with them and laugh. I'm glad I came to America. Hello, my name is Mary. I was born in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains in Salt Lake City. When I was little, they gave me a big stick to kill rattlesnakes on the mountain. My folks owned the Lincoln Cafe. We kids stayed in the basement. The 5 of us played until we went to school. Koji, my father, knew a childless couple, so Koji gave me to his friends as a present. I was 11. My foster parents gave me my own room and bed. They had a restaurant, so my food was good. But Koji came back when I was 13 to ask me to return. I said no. Koji used to beat us and yell. But tragedy struck. My foster father had a heart attack and died. My foster mother gave up the restaurant. I was 12 and worked as a maid after school for a rich white woman. At school, they gave me a scholarship to college, but I had to take care of my foster mother, working at a produce market, dawn to dusk. There, I met a farmer's son, very handsome, and we married. We left Utah to drive to California. My first baby, a son, was born on the highway when I was 19. 2 years later, a girl, Suzuko. It was 1941. Like a thunderbolt, Pearl Harbor struck. World War II. My husband confessed he had a girlfriend, a white woman. He escaped with her to the demilitarized zone. He and my father taught me it's not rattlesnakes you can't trust. The Japanese Americans lost all their property after Executive Order 9066. They put us in horse stalls at Santa Anita Racetrack, where my daughter got pneumonia. We then went to the Jerome Relocation Center in Arkansas, a bleak, humid desert swamp. Our camp had barbed wire fences, armed guards, watchtowers, and searchlights. It's a concentration camp. I mean, our crime was being Japanese. Most of us, they're citizens. My room was about 20 feet long. Days were spent washing clothes and watching the kids. My cousin Chio was there. She was a good friend to me. There I met Kiyoshi, my next husband, who interviewed me for the community analysis section. Misfortunes happened. But was this a redeeming hope? Kiyoshi was a college graduate, but said he loved me. So we were both married to other people, but his wife, Mary, thought he was crazy. Kiyoshi was a pacifist against war and went to jail for that. But since his mother cried, he enlisted as a medic at Fort Shelby. After the war, Kiyoshi wanted to go to Chicago, so I followed. Kiyoshi's wife refused to divorce him. So he lived in the worst slums on the South Side. He went to Paul Goodman's theater school. Now, I got mad working full-time as a maid and caring for 3 kids, including his son. I demanded his wife pick him up. And then we moved to New York City. There we had 2 daughters. We were so poor, We ran out of food and got evicted. Kiyoshi went to the New School for his PhD in philosophy on the GI Bill. Why didn't I love a drone? Artists, you know, or mostly shit parents, legends in their own mind. But my girls did okay. The worst was when my son went to jail. If we hadn't lived in a slum and been so poor, he'd never have met that gang or stuck that cab up for $2. I cried at night, but visited the next day at the Juvenile Delinquent Center after changing my name to Mary and learning to type. I became a secretary and decided no matter what Kiyoshi did, we would move to a better place. My son finally got out of that hellhole. We went west and got a job. Kiyoshi, by this time, Conrad, never graduated the New School. Professors hated him for being Japanese. But he got a job at Tea House of the August Moon. We built his career until he became a working actor on Broadway and films and TV and other shows. My mother had something from the old country, like tempered steel. If you need a house, chop down trees and build it. After breaking several times in different places, I too became like steel. My happiness and hope are my grandchildren. Do you like this quilt? You know, I used red. It's lively. Yellow for happiness. And white for peace.